All right, so the next is a regular talk. It's given by Jocelyn Vier, and is a product of shape and sequence abstractions.
Thank you, Katerina. Good morning, everyone. This job is in collaboration with Félix Ridou and Xavier Rival, and it aims at combining an existing shape analysis with sequence abstractions to improve its expressiveness. To motivate our work, let's consider this example inserting a value in a binary search tree. There are many properties we would like to prove about this program. First, we could check that all the references of the C pointers are valid. This is the absence of runtime error in this program. Then we could also prove the preservation of structural invariants. Informally, if T is a well-formed binary tree, then the return value is also a well-formed binary tree. But we could also try to prove a much stronger property, that is partial functional correctness. In addition to the two earlier properties, it means that we have to prove that the value is indeed inserted in the tree at the right position. Here, this table shows how existing analysis performs regarding to these properties mentioned earlier. For example, pointer analysis only works to establish absence correctness of pointer dereferences. Second, we have shape analysis based on three-value logic and separation logic. This analysis works well to prove pointer dereference validity as well as preservation of structural invariants. And finally, K-limited graphs works well to prove partial functional correctness, but only on a limited family of inductive data structures. So none of these approaches could prove the partial functional correctness of inserting a novel element in a binary search tree. Therefore, we could ask ourselves how to improve the expressiveness of automatic static analysis over dynamic data structures to prove partial functional correctness. Our work is based upon the separation logic-based shape analysis. It uses a subset of separation logic to abstract memory states. Separation logics take its name from the separating conjunction. These operators groups predicates, and it expresses that the memories described by these predicates are disjoint. And second, to summarize inductive data structures, separation logic uses inductive predicate. Here I show the example of the tree predicate expressing that C is the address of a well-formed binary tree. We have two cases. The first case is on the left is the empty case where C is a null pointer, and in this case the memory described is empty. And on the right case we have the non-empty case where C is a non-null address of a cell containing a data delta and pointers to two subtrees. As I mentioned earlier, separation logic-based shape analysis can prove validity of pointer dereferences as well as preservation of inductive invariants. But since the inductive predicates forget the content of the inductive data structures, it cannot prove that the value is indeed inserted in the tree. In previous works, the inductive predicates were added set parameters expressing the content stored in the tree. So using capital letters E, in the empty case, the content is empty. In the non-empty case, the content is obtained by considering the content of the two subtrees with the value delta. But this extension is not enough because it cannot reason on the order of appearance of elements, and this is crucial to reason about sortedness. This brings us to our solution, that is to express constraints on the sequence of values stored in the tree. To do so, we had a sequence parameter, capital S, representing the sequence of elements in the tree in infix order. Moreover, if the sequence S is known to be sorted, then the tree predicate expresses a well-formed binary search tree. And we can now express the partial functional correctness of the insert function with this O triple. And we see that to prove this O triple, we first need an abstract domain to reason on sorted sequences, and we also need to combine this domain with the shape analysis to express the content of the tree. In this work, we make the following contribution. First, we designed an abstract domain reasoning over sequence constraints, and we also reason on their content, their length, their bounds, and their sortedness. Then we combine with a reduced product the sequence domain with an existing shape analysis. And finally, we implemented this analysis in the Memcad tool, and we discussed its expressiveness, its cost, and its versatility. So now let's describe this abstract domain reasoning over sequences. I will just simply call it the sequence domain for the rest of this talk. The goal of this domain is to abstract set of functions evaluating numerical variables, here alpha and delta, to numerical values, and sequence variable, here S and S1, to sequence of values. An abstract value of this domain is a tuple whose first element is a conjunction of sequence definition. Here we call a sequence definition an equality constraint, where the left part of the equality is a single sequence variable. Second, we have an element of a multiset domain. We use this element to reason on the content of the sequences, regardless of their order of appearance. And finally, we have an element of a numerical domain. We use it to express constraint on the length of the sequences as well as the bounds of the sequences, and this is crucial to reason about sortedness. Now let's describe the main operator of the sequence domain. The guard operator refines an abstract value by adding a novel constraint. Here, let's take the example of assuming the constraint SR equals alpha, that is to say SR is a sequence with only one element, the numerical variable alpha, in the abstract value described in the left. First, the operator simply adds the definition in the conjunction, and then the operator propagates this constraint by adding content, length, and bounds constraints. So, for example, it says that the length of SR is 1, and the minimum and maximum values of SR is equal to alpha. Then the operator folds other definition using the novel one. For example, here in the definition of S, alpha is replaced by SR. And then the operator performs some constraint saturation. So here it infers that SR is sorted. I show here the rule to infer sortedness of a sequence. Notice that it must perform a quadratic amount of numerical check. And finally, the operator detects and removes cyclic constraints. And if at any step of this operator we detect inconsistent constraint, we simply return bottom. And the guard operator is sound because the return value over-approximates the evaluation satisfying the constraint. With the guard operator, we implemented other operators. The first one conservatively checks that constraint is verified in an abstract value. And we also define the standard lattice operator, that is to say inclusion check, upper bounds, and widening. Now, let's describe the shape analysis with the sequence predicates. First, let's highlight the main challenges of this combination. Recall that the tree predicates only described full binary trees. And here I show the state of the memory at some point during the exploration of the binary search tree, where C tries to find the point of insertion of the new value. So C points to a full binary tree, so we use the tree predicates. But to summarize the partial tree between pointers L and C, the analysis uses a segment predicate tree seg. Since this predicate is automatically derived from the tree predicate, we need to extend the analysis to reason over the content of this segment predicate. The second challenge involves the Operators used by the analysis. We have two families of operators. The first one, unfold operators, refined memory state, and the second one, fold, generalized a memory state. For both families of operators, we need to derive the corresponding sequence constraint to be either verified or guarded. So, on the expression of segment predicate content, I here show the memory states that I showed earlier, and you see that I also show the sequence stored in the tree. If the analysis says that the segment predicates content sequence 0, 1, 2, 3, 10, 11, 12, this is not enough. The analysis must also remember where the missing sequence in blue is inserted in the sequence contained in the segment predicate. To do so, the segment predicates use two sequence variables, S1 and S2, each one for each side of the missing sequence. So S1 abstract 0, 1, 2, 3, S2 abstract 10, 11, 12. To describe how the unfolding operator works, let's consider the case of analyzing this small program if L assigned to V the expression L arrow data with the initial state tree L is the address of a tree containing a sequence S. First, the analysis guards the if constraint, L is a non-null pointer. Then, to perform the assignment, the analysis must evaluate expression V arrow data. To do this, it unfolds the tree predicate. It is then replaced by its conjunction of this possible definition, where the variable delta, SL, and SR are fresh variables. Moreover, the constraints of the definition are guarded in the sequence part of the abstract value. The analysis then notices that the constraints in the empty case on L are inconsistent, so the analysis discards this case. And in the non-empty case, the expression C arrow data corresponds to the value delta. So it is assigned to the value of V. Unfolding a segment sequence predicate, unfolding inductive predicate is sound because the disjunction of the two resulting states over-approximates the original one. The folding operators perform the opposite operation. It merges several parts of the abstract state into one inductive predicate. Here we have two cases. The first one corresponds to the case where the analysis detects a possible definition of an inductive predicate. Then it verifies whether the corresponding sequence constraint is verified, and then it can unfold it into a full tree predicate. The second case of folding is more interesting. In this case, the analysis concatenates a segment predicate with a full inductive predicate. In this case, the constraint to be verified is simply obtained by inserting the content of the full inductive predicate S0 between the two sequences of the segment S1 and S2. And folding an inductive predicate is also a sound rewriting operation. With the folding operator, we define the other standard lattice operators, that is to say inclusion checking, upper bound, and widening. And with these operators, we designed a sound and automatic static analysis by forward abstract interpretation. Moreover, by checking the inclusion of the final state into the post condition, the analysis is able to prove partial functional correctness. Now let's go back to the example from the introduction, that is to say, inserting an element in a binary search tree. Here, I show the invariant found by the analysis after two iterations of the loop. So it states that C points to a subtree of the tree pointed by L, and the sequence of the original tree, that is S, is obtained by inserting the content of the subtree pointed by C, S0, between the two sequences of the segment S1 and S2. And all of the corresponding sequence variables are inferred to be sorted. Moreover, the numerical part of the analysis automatically infers that both N and C pointers are non-null, and that the value V to be inserted is between the maximum value of the left part of the segment and the minimum value of the right part of the segment. That is to say that the point of insertion of V is to be found in the subtree pointed by C. And with this invariant, the analysis carries on a final state to prove inclusion in the post-condition showed in the bottom of the slide. Now let's describe the experimental part of our work. We implemented this analysis in the MEMCAD tool. It is available online. It is also available on Zenodo if you like. And for each test, we only specify two elements, the specification of the function we would like to prove, and the full inductive predicates that the analysis needs to use. And then we ask ourselves, what is the expressiveness of the analysis regarding memory safety and preservation of invariant, as well as partial functional correctness? What is the cost of the analysis compared to the analysis without sequence parameters, and what is its versatility? To answer the first two questions, we analyze programs implementing classical list and binary search tree programs, including insertion sort, bubble sort, and heap sort. For all of these programs, the analysis managed to prove partial functional correctness. Moreover, we observed that adding sequence parameters improves the precision of the analysis to establish preservation of invariant in the case of deleting the maximum element of a binary search tree. Regarding the cost of the analysis, we show in the third column the overhead of the analysis. We observe that it is between, the analysis takes between 5 times and 10 times the time of the baseline analysis, that is to say without sequence parameters. And for complex programs such as insertion sort, the overhead is much stronger, up to 30 times. We found two elements justifying this cost. The first one is that most of the time of the analysis is spent in numerical domains. So in the fourth column, we show the percentage of the analysis spent in the numerical abstract domain. And we can think of two elements justifying this. First, the quadratic cost of sortedness checking I mentioned earlier. And second, we also observe that length constraints are very expensive because the highest value, the highest percentage of the time spent in numerical domain is obtained for insertion at a position. And the second element that could explain the cost is that the sequence domain requires one more iteration of a loop for the widening to converge. And in the case of insertion sort and bubble sort, we have nested loops. So it's 5 more iterations. To test the versatility of our analysis, we analyzed programs from real-world list libraries, that is to say the Linux list library, the FreeRTOS list library. FreeRTOS is a small operating system for microcontrollers, as well as a generic data structure library. All of these libraries are instances of circular doubly linked list with a distinguished header, and they also implement various features. For all of the functions, except two, the analysis established partial functional correctness. It fails to establish this property for min and max extraction in the generic data structure library. But we also observe that adding sequence parameters improves the precision to establish memory safety properties. Now, let's conclude our presentation. So, on the question of how to improve the expressiveness of static analysis, of automatic static analysis over dynamic data structures to establish partial functional correctness, we first designed a novel sequence abstract domain, and it is capable to reason over their sequence and their order of appearance, but also of their content regardless of the order of appearance, their length, their bounds, and therefore their sortedness. Second, we using an abstract reduced product, we combine this sequence domain with an existing shape analysis based on separation logic. This requires to derive at any step of the analysis the corresponding sequence constraint to be either verified or guarded. And then we implemented this analysis in the Memcat tool, and we observed that it was expressive enough to prove complex programs such as sorting algorithm, and versatile enough to be applied on real-world list libraries. Thank you for your attention.
Questions? Yes.
Yeah, thank you for your talk. Are you aware of this work on verification of or shape analysis with size, back, and other numerical constraints? This is a paper like 10 years ago that looked a little bit familiar to the fold-unfold reasoning you integrated into a separation logic-based shape domain. And I was just curious, is this related? Have you compared with this? Because also the example you had is one day verified, I believe.
So what kind of constraint does it express?
You can express sortedness, for example. You can express that you have an AVL tree, these kind of properties. And they also added a sequence or other numerical constraints on the inductive predicate.
I am not aware of this work, so I cannot answer to your question, sorry.
Okay.
Thanks for the nice talk. So I was wondering if your sequence domain could be used also in array analysis, and if you have compared your sequence domain to work that have been done in array analysis. Because it seems to be quite a natural fit.
So we looked at array abstraction from Kuzo to prove sortedness algorithm on sorting algorithm with arrays, but we noticed that the analysis is mostly based by saying that the sequence contains some distinguished variables, so inferred by the analysis with semantic criteria. And on the topic of analyzing arrays, we did not try to implement it. Sorry.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks for the talk. So certainly verifying or analyzing sortedness is an important problem and so forth. But have you thought of other applications of the sequence abstraction combined with shapes?
So the goal of the ultimate goal of this work is to prove the preservation of invariance on a larger system, that is to say, for example, a whole scheduler of tasks, for example. So this requires also to prove constraint of sortedness, but also on the order of appearance of inserted tasks with respect to the scheduling policy, for example.
All right, yeah, sounds good.
We have a bit of time for more questions. I can add one. So have you looked at other sequence domains and maybe consider reduced products with your sequence abstraction or those kinds of things?
So most of the sequence domains are based on regular expressions. So they are mostly tailored for word abstractions. So we may want to implement a Redis product, but a more interesting domain is the one used in this work from Boisjani and others, representing the content of K-limited graphs. It is much more expressive than our sequence domain, but it also requires the user to provide specific word patterns. So, for example, if you want to express sortedness, concatenation, or that the sequence contains the element of the Fibonacci sequence, you need to provide a specific word pattern.
Last question? Okay, if not, we can thank the speaker. Thanks.